Hello everyone, Red here with RedDragonLeo.com, and I have finally fixed my computer problem, so I do apologize for that last week, as I know I only did one post. I just realized my weekend post from last week was it. I did do a video update, but I seem to have had all that fixed now, and I've got a much faster computer and I'm much happier. So anyway, let's try to get right into it. I'm going to go over some things that are related to the stock market, of course, but not so much technical analysis as political and the powers that be kind of stuff, the dark side that I like to go over. On my site, you can see here on the red pill sites, you can see Benjamin Fulford, you can see Enterprise Corruption, which is Reinhardt's site. Follow the Money, Seeker 401 is a great one as well. Project Camelot as well. There's a lot of great sites. If you have not read some of these, you should go and learn and read about those. Also, down here on the astrology moon cycles is people that have to do with the spiral dates guide that I've referred to many times, who has a turn date happening today, Sunday. So there's also Mahindra, his prophecies. Now he does his based upon, I believe, visions and stuff that he sees. And if you click on his link, you'll go to this site here, and he is calling for a Dow 38,000. And I don't, that's not obviously tomorrow. That's obviously a few years out. And so, that's something he's seen in a vision. So is it going to happen? I don't know. Is it possible? Absolutely. If we have massive inflation, that would be equivalent to about a Dow 3800 today. We got $5,000 an ounce gold. Then sure, we could have a Dow 38,000. It'd be, worthless Dow, just like our money is worthless right now. But I did want to throw that out there for you. Now Benjamin Fulford here, that I have talked about, and you should go, stay in the loop here and read about what's going on. He's still talking about this $1 trillion that has been stolen, that the bad guys, the powers that be, the Illuminati, the Bilderberg Group, the people in the goddess pilgrimage, the crooks, gangsters, whatever you want to call them, powers that be, they are trying to get their hands on that money, and of course the white hats are trying to keep them from getting this money. But again, he talks a lot. Benjamin Fulford, by the way, is someone who was a reporter at one time back in the 80s, I believe it was the 80s, when he talked about it on his interview here with Project Camelot. If you go to the Project Camelot portal right here, which again is on my site, again, Project Camelot right here under Red Pill Sites. If you go there, and well, number one, you should listen to Ashante Dean, who will tell you a lot about spiritually where we are as a human race, and what we have to do with the interstellar planets, and what's happening in 2012, and the Guardian Alliance that's protecting the planet Earth. Some far out stuff, but for those who open their mind up and believe that we are just simply energy and immortal spirits inhabiting these bodies, you'll learn a lot from her. But anyway, if you click on the link here, Camelot Library, and go here to, it will open up this page, Camelot Library. Then you can go here to video interviews and look for one that Benjamin Fulford did with Project Camelot, as he talks about himself, his role, and where he's from, and all of that. And it's very, very interesting. And he was basically a big-time reporter with somebody like, I don't remember, Forbes magazine, or maybe it's some, I think I got that magazine wrong, but he was with some big firm at one time and wrote a story that the powers that be wrote, and so they really shunned him, and he ended up getting fired, and then kind of went on his own. And so he writes his own financial, or not financial blog, but he writes his own blog about what these people are trying to do here, and trying to start World War III, and he writes it all underground, even though they've tried to kill him numerous times, send assassins, but he's protected by some of the good guys, the white hats that we call them, which are inside the Pentagon. There's some good forces and bad forces. A lot of stuff going down behind the scenes here, folks. And of course, the timeline we don't know about. They're saying September 31st is when the U.S. fiscal year ends and it approaches. In his previous post, he talked about that they are planning to possibly default on, I'm talking about the United States, defaulting on the international debt. He also talks in numerous posts about the, and I can't remember where it's at, but I just let you read it, but he talks about the bankruptcy of the Federal Reserve and the gangsters. So that they are, the good guys are, here it talks about it right here. Senior sources now are reporting there's still chaos in the western corridors of power, especially Washington, D.C., where a lot of the thugs, the Obama gangster gang is there, who formerly was the Bush gangster gang and formerly was the Clinton gangster gang. It's all the same, folks, all the same. Makes no difference. Puppets are the presidents, same thing. But anyway, it says Washington, D.C., there because of the impending bankruptcy of the Federal Reserve Board. This is already planned. It's going to happen. It says there's moves. There are moves reported in our last newsletter, which is this one, that to launch a gold-backed Amero dollar to replace the U.S. dollar. In my opinion, this is a good thing, even though it will hurt us temporarily. This is much better than massive inflation, because if we have $5,000 an ounce gold and a stock market at $38,000, a loaf of bread is going to cost you, $20. I mean, it's, gasoline, who knows. I mean, it's going to go through the roof. I'd rather go ahead and get me an Amero dollar, in my personal opinion, and give up $2 for one Amero dollar to get something back by gold, than I would to hang on to the dollar that just keeps getting crushed in value. So it says, however, they're still planning on doing that. It says, however, a different faction that's still pushing a gold-backed treasury dollar controlled by Congress. So there's no conclusion to this fight, but the turmoil is expected to intensify as the September 31st U.S. fiscal year end approaches. It says, because of this chaos, Chinese and Asian sources are now offering to sell large denominations of U.S. dollars and euros at 37% discount to the super wealthy individuals. Well, these super wealthy individuals are probably not in the inner know circle, and these Chinese and Asian sources are. They know the crap is going to hit the fan. The dollar is going to be devalued huge, either through massive inflation coming down the road, or through the replacement of the dollar with the Amero, or possibly this treasury dollar, whatever. And the euro is going to go extinct. Ben's talked about this before. The only thing he's certain about is these financial shenanigans in the globe, that the global government structure set up after World War II are starting to collapse. This was all set up, after World War II. This war was staged and planned for profit. There is plenty of evidence out there that Ford Motor Companies was building plants for Hitler. And when the U.S. bombers bombed them in World War II, bombed the tank plants, Ford went in there and replaced it and gave Hitler the money to rebuild the factories, to build the tanks. At the same time, Boeing was selling planes to Hitler as well. They were shipping them to South America, and they were stripping out the seats and turning them into bomber planes, selling them to Hitler. So it's all about profit, folks. There's never a war about us hating them or anything like that. It had nothing to do with it. It's all about profit. But you should read up on that, because this September 31st deadline coincides also with Reinhardt and what he is saying. And Reinhardt is someone, in case you don't know, here on Enterprise Corruption. Again, his link is also right here on my site, Enterprise Corruption, right there. Reinhardt has called the stock market crashes since at least 2008 or 2007. He's been back. You can go to his site, and if you have not, his stuff is very cryptic, but he basically tells you that all of these false flag events are created for profit. That's what it's always been about. It's always been about robbing the sheep to build these structures. 9/11 was about building an enemy nation. He talks about it, and he proves it. I mean, there's just too much evidence out there that these are all staged events. And if you think 9/11 was done by Middle Eastern terrorists, well, I'm sorry to misinform you, but it was by a gangster terrorist known as the Federal Reserve Board. Middle Eastern terrorist. I live here in Florida. I remember them interviewing the trainer that taught one of the supposed terrorists that was flying one of these planes, that taught this guy how to be a pilot. And the trainer, the instructor, said that this guy couldn't even fly a little Cessna, and said if he was getting graded on A being the best and F being failing, he said he'd barely give him a D, that he couldn't fly a Cessna at all, let alone fly a big 747 into one of these buildings. It just didn't happen like that. Do your research. There were people on the streets that seen drone planes that clearly were, controlling these other planes that were most likely empty. There was evidence of planes landing and people being escorted off of them at military bases that were passengers, and then the empty plane flown in here. There was people on the street, and I seen this myself. The people on the street, 5 minutes after it happened, they interviewed a guy on the street that when it happened in 2001, 9/11, when that happened, I remember watching TV. I was at work here in Florida, in Jacksonville, Florida. I remember watching it on TV. So they interviewed a guy on the street and asked him, what did you see hit the Pentagon? And the guy said, I seen a missile. I seen a plane come and a missile fly off of it and hit it. Well, you never seen that again. I seen it live. I seen him say it. And then that story disappeared. Why? Why? Was the guy drunk? No, he's just telling what he's seen. He did see a missile. You can't tell me that you got a 60-foot hole and you put a plane with a wingspan of 140 feet or more with 420-ton engines, and you put it all in that little hole. Come on, folks. It was all done to go to war. You can read up about this stuff. All this stuff has been staged. But anyway, I'm ranting and raving. It just ticks me off. All those people had to die for them to go to war. That's just very, very frustrating. But one of the things that I did want to show you here, Reinhardt talks a lot in cryptic stuff. You got to try to figure him out. But he makes a lot of sense if you just read it and on a regular basis, and you'll figure this out. You really will figure it out. But here lately, he had been putting up, if we scroll down here a little bit, he had been putting up right here, what was coming the third week of September 2010, more stimulus, and a big question mark there, because he didn't know no more than I knew or anyone else. I mean, we're all kind of just speculating that more stimulus was coming. He was putting some pictures of some women here that were very stimulating, and to put it bluntly. Now he's changed it to probably not, and I'm definitely in agreement. I was wondering at that time period why he was saying that when Bernanke a couple weeks ago come out and said he'd do whatever it took, and then you had this massive stimulus plan come into the market and rally us up. I mean, look at this. We had the rally. God doggone, I wish this thing wouldn't go so fast sometimes. Okay, so we had the rally. Here it was. This was when Bernanke said, we'll do whatever it takes. Well, there's the stimulus money. So what's going to happen after the Legatus pilgrimage? If that was the stimulus money going before the pilgrimage, rallied up into it, so now the crooks are selling right now. What's going to happen afterwards? Well, I'll tell you what I think is going to happen afterwards. I think the crap's going to hit the fan, and I think we're going to get this right here, September 24th, Wall Street, Money Never Sleeps. The last time this movie was released, the Wall Street movie, was 1987 when we had the Black Monday. Here it is going to be released again, September 24th. Coincidence? I think not. They're telling us another crash is coming, folks. Wall Street knows about it. I should say Hollywood knows about this in advance. It's coming. They know about it September 21st. They did this movie a year ago. Same thing for 1987. They did it before 87. The Legatus pilgrimage is active right now, the 9th through the 20th. When it's over with, the market is going to be at a peak. I think, that's it. That's all we're going to get. We're going to possibly going up here to this 115. I think that's it. If we go up that high, I don't think we're going. I don't mean 115. I mean this area right here, 1130 area, and that's it. I don't, and that'll be this week and next week, and after that, I think we're done. I just don't see any more. We'll do a second video to get more into the dailies here, but I wanted to go over that manipulation factor for you so that you'd have an idea of putting the pieces together. Okay, let's do another video right now.